Welcome to PoliticsNY with Skye Behind the Curtain, where we're talking with insiders about government, politics, and how everything is interconnected. And right now, I'm here with Michael Skelly, the president of Skelly Strategic Solutions, and he does public relations and deals a lot with labor unions. So, how you doing, Michael Skelly? Welcome to the show.
I'm great, Skye. Great to be with you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. So you were telling me a little bit about what you are working on now and how the changes in governments may affect these labor laws and unions. So why don't you give everyone a little background on that?
Sure. So really is a great privilege that I have to help support and advocate on behalf of so many different essential workers in the city and in the state, whether it's correction officers working on Rikers Island or New York City transit supervisors in the New York City transit system, New York State troopers, or even Suffolk County municipal workers. The folks that I represent are literally the men and women who keep our state, our city, and our counties secure and keep them moving. So there's a lot going on right now as we grapple with post-pandemic policies and keeping both New Yorkers safe and workers safe. And there's a lot going on in terms of the political landscape and navigating the various elected officials who will be making major policy decisions that impact their daily lives. So it's a lot going on and a lot to keep track of.
Are there any major challenges that you could say right off the top of your head that may impact some of your clients?
So I think certainly for the city correction officers, they are dealing with one of the worst staffing shortages, I think, in their history, where you literally have correction officers working 25 hours or more in very dangerous environment where they don't get meals, they don't get access to medical attention, and they're supervising some of the toughest criminals that are literally people we don't want in our streets every day. And they're going through a really difficult time because the city has not hired more correction officers in nearly 3 years. So between the staffing shortage, dealing with a resurgence of COVID-19 in the jails, and a very steep increase in violence, the city correction officers are going through an immense challenge right now, and keeping their message and their voices out there is one of my top priorities.
So you're speaking specifically about Rikers, right? And that's been a big controversy.
It is. It's a big controversial topic because several years ago, the mayor and the city council voted to close Rikers Island. And that's at a price tag of a little bit over $10 billion, which will require new borough-based jails being built in communities that don't necessarily want them there. And on top of that, the inmate population we have has gone up to about 6,000, and the new jails can only hold a maximum of about 3,300. So the question before the city council and the next mayoral administration is really going to be, do we have the money and the political will to close Rikers and figure out how we're going to cram 6,000 inmates into spaces that only hold 3,300? Or can we take a fraction of that money and improve the facilities there, hire more officers, and make those jails safer for everyone, safer for the correction officers, safer for the inmates, safer for the nurses and doctors? That's really going to be a major, I think, priority for the next mayoral administration.
So can it be done? Can improving Rikers actually happen?
History would tell you otherwise, but I think that it can be done if elected officials sit down and listen to the boots on the ground. So the men and women who represent the correction officers really have a voice and a message that's important. And it really comes down to keeping everyone safe, not just themselves, but giving them the support, giving them the resources to keep the nation's second largest municipal jail system safe. It can be done if people have their backs. And for the last 8 years, that simply hasn't been the case.
I know. And that's why people were talking about opening up those different jails throughout the boroughs. And there's a lot of pushback on that, but I know that that may be a popular solution. I just can't imagine how that would happen.
It's a popular solution in theory, but the reality is the city is going into a $5.4 billion budget deficit next year. That's a lot of money. The price tag to close Rikers and build these 4 new jails is $10 billion. Now, I'm not an economist, but I just don't see how the numbers square up. You could literally take a fraction of that money and make significant improvements in the jails. You would be shocked to learn that there are actual cell doors in many of these facilities that don't work, where inmates, violent criminals, can simply manipulate the locks and come in and out of their cells. And that's just one major safety concern. Certainly, Rikers is ideal because it's on an island. It's very hard to escape. If you're in a community with public schools literally feet away from the jail, it's easy to escape and get back into the community. And I think that's something the public really is very concerned about.
Look, I know, Michael Skelly, you deal with a whole bunch of different types of clients and unions, but this is a really hot topic. And I know you were featured in a couple of different news articles about this topic as recently as today. When was the last time you were there at Rikers? I know I'm very interested in this.
Yes. So the last time I was there was probably within the last year. During the pandemic, I played a role in helping our union get PPE out to our members who did not have the luxury to work from home. There was a massive shortage of masks and sanitizers. So I was out there with the troops helping give out masks, giving out hand sanitizers, ensuring our frontline workers had the safety things that they need to keep themselves safe.
Mhm. Wow, I've never been. Should I visit?
You know what? It's always good to visit, but it's not worth staying much longer than that.
Michael Skelly, thank you. Thanks for spending time on Behind the Curtain and giving us a little insight into what's actually going on. So now people will be more aware of these issues. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Skye.